Right, Matt, our co-main event for UFC Boston coming at us this Friday from TD Garden in the city. And listen, this is a rematch of our main event from UFC Mexico that we had not even 3 weeks ago. It's one that we've already predicted here on the channel on Fight Night Picks. If you want to go back and watch the prediction for that one, it's pretty much going to be the same thing here. I mean, not that we kept the same notes, but it's pretty much going to be the same thing. Do you see this fight through a different lens after what took place in Mexico City?
Yes and no. It's very weird because it's hard to get a tell off 10 seconds of footage, but the 10 seconds that we did see, Yair's so much faster than Jeremy Stephens, it's not even funny. Now, of course, Jeremy Stephens probably does hit harder than Yair, but the speed difference was so prevalent. Like, Yair hit him 3 times, and it was in the blink of an eye. Yair, as an athlete especially, is just phenomenal. He throws a lot of weird techniques, and I don't think that the eye poke was intentional. It could have been, but I just don't think so. You see a lot of guys when they do the leg kick and when a guy comes in on them, they just put their hand out to kind of create distance. And I feel like Jeremy Stephens just kind of walked into it. So it was one of those things where it's not anyone's fault, but someone always wants to blame somebody. And I feel like that's what it was. But I do think Yair's going to win this fight. I think it should be a very fun fight. And it's going to be interesting to see if the dynamic would have changed between a 5-round and a 3-round fight. But I'm still picking Rodriguez.
And it's kind of a shame, too, because the fight that we lost in this one, you had a local guy that we had mentioned in the Joe Lozon breakdown, Calvin Kattar. He's supposed to be taking on Zabit Magomedsharipov. They moved that fight over to Moscow. Now we get this. And listen, it's a great matchup. Of course, it was a main event. And like you said, it'll be interesting to see how this fight plays out between a 5-round matchup and a 3-round matchup. And you got a guy in Jeremy Stephens that trained for that fight and spent 6 weeks in Mexico getting used to the climate, getting used to the height and the elevation. Now you're going to be fighting at more or less sea level in Boston. I mean, you're right there in terms of that. So it should be a good one. It should be an interesting one. As far as the odds are concerned in this one, they're basically pick-em odds, which is kind of surprising to me because you think Yair Rodriguez on an upward trend. I mean, had the fight against Korean Zombie, maybe lost a bit of momentum with the fans in his last one. Of course, the no contest. But with Jeremy Stephens kind of in no man's land and against upper echelon talent lately, hasn't looked as sharp as, you know, we're used to seeing him. Of course, he is basically a par fighter in the UFC. So I'm going to go with Yair Rodriguez. You're going with Yair Rodriguez. Don't forget to miss, you don't want to miss, our main event prediction here. You've got Chris Weidman taking on Dominic Reyes. Fight Night Picks 2-minute breakdowns for UFC Boston. Let's get in.